Hey, Dana. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Miss Margie. Welcome in, everybody. Y'all, please make sure to double tap, share it out. If you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. Hey, Gentleman Jack. Hey, Loretta. Hello, Jackie. Hey, Lyndon. Thank you, Niner. I'm jealous, Renee. It's so hot I can't get enough to drink. Hope somebody's counting my sips. Hey, Jessica. So, this afternoon I am going to be going over more of the documents that were released by the Moscow Police Department. I am going to start with the coroner's report. Hey, Chrissy. I'm just waiting for everybody to get in here. So if you are just joining, please make sure to hit the heart at the top if you're a team member. Hey, Marion. Double tap, share it out. We are almost back to 300 team members, but we have got to get memberships back up. We're down to 123. Hello, Miss. Hello, Virginia. One moment, y'all. One moment, y'all. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just coming in, please make sure to double tap, share it out. If you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. Let me get this shared out real quick. Listen to some music while we're waiting.
fool, falling, saying crazy things, but I'm hoping and praying that you'll know what I mean. Yeah, I wish I had the lines, but if you could read between, well then you know what you mean.
Hey, YO Mama. I'm sending out notices.
When I say heaven, I mean laying by your side. And by forever, I mean as long as you'll be mine. When I say perfect, I mean every little thing that you do. Oh, and when I say beautiful, wonderful, Lord, too good to be true, I mean you.
Welcome in, everybody. If you're just coming in, please make sure to hit the heart at the top. I am sending out notifications. I will be here in just a second. We're going to be going over more documents.
That's exactly what I wouldn't do. To keep you smiling, oh, and laughing, but baby, you would too. Oh, if you were me looking back at you when I say heaven, I mean laying by your side.
Thank you for joining the team.
I mean as long as you'll be mine. When I say perfect, I mean every little thing that you do. Oh, and when I say beautiful, wonderful, too good to be true, I mean you. I mean you.
All right, y'all. I am sending out notices, and then I will be here. Give me just a minute.
About tomorrow, every day that follows. You say I miss you more. When I say you lost, that was me before.
Thank you, Miss Margie. I love this song too. Hey, Leah. You ready for our battle?
It's laying by your side. And forever means as long as you'll be mine. When I say perfect, I mean every little thing that you do.
I'm excited too. I was not expecting to do another battle. I was not expecting to do a battle at all tonight. But when Josiah messaged me and said, "Hey, can you do this?" I said, of course I wasn't going to tell him no. Yes, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So for those of you who don't know, I have a very impromptu big battle tonight. Leah is actually my partner, and we are doing a guys versus girls battle with Guy with the Hair. And yeah, and good old Mud Mafia over there, same two that we battled last month. And y'all remember what that was like? I have not heard anything about that, Michelle. Oh yeah, I'm excited either way. It was so much fun last time, even though we lost. It was fun. And I don't even consider it a loss because it was great. But yeah, for those of you who are just coming in, please make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. Double tap, y'all, share it out. I am going to be discussing more of the documents from the Idaho 4, the documents that were released by the Moscow Police Department last week. I'm starting out with the coroner's report that lists the causes of death and actually the manner of death, what caused the injuries that caused it. Hey, Ivy K. Also, I was announcing I have a big battle tonight at 8:30 Central. on this channel. I know I don't battle here anymore, but guy with the hair contacted me yesterday and asked me if I could do another guy versus girl battle because the person that he had to do it backed out. Thank you, Tara. So I told him yes. So tonight we are battling guy with the hair and Mud Mafia again. Same two opponents as last month that we had, but Leah that's in the chat, she is going to be my teammate tonight. So it should be exciting. He is an awesome opponent. Y'all know we've had some awesome battles with him. Hey, Karen. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Hey, Brandy. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Y'all make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. Hey, Gillian. Hey, Allison. Welcome in, y'all. We're going to be talking about Idaho 4 again. I'm just going to do specific documents this time so that we can try to get through them as much as possible. And, yeah. Hey, Becky. I'm glad to see you, Dungeon. I'm just waiting for everybody to get here. I got a couple people that are straggling. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. And yes, I want to go ahead and preface this with this statement. Please hold your comments until the end. Is that lip color real or a filter? It is real. You see the filter? My lips are actually bigger than the filter. The filter is barely there. It's actually two different colors. It is a lip stain, and then I put gloss over it. So as I was saying, please make sure to hold your questions, because a lot of times, if you just listen, the answers to your questions, you'll hear them. And I am back on YouTube. I've been back on YouTube. My YouTube channel is in my bio on my link tree. Okay, Lynn. I need 40 people, 40 different people to each send one heart puff. It just gave us a flash goal. Hey, Kat. Hey, Catherine. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just coming in, please make sure to send your heart me. If you are a team member, double tap, share it out. I'm going to be talking about the new documents that were released in the Idaho 4 case. Seven more. We need 7 more people to send a heart puff. No, 17 more. Come on, y'all. I need 16 people who haven't already sent a heart puff to send one. Let's get this flash goal done, and then I will get started. We need 6 more, y'all. 6 more people. I need 6 people who have not already sent one to send a heart puff. If you're just coming in, please make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. Double tap, y'all. Share it out. I'm going to be talking about the Idaho 4 documents here in just a second. I need 4 more people. 4 people who have not already sent a heart puff to send a heart puff to finish up the flash goal, and then I will get started. There's 168 people in here right now. 36 people have sent a heart puff. I need 4 people who haven't already sent one to send one. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. All right, let me thank everybody, and then we will get started. All right, let's see. Jackie, Barbie, Alana, Karen, Dungeon, K Bay, Confess Nothing, Grits Girl, Brandy, Jillian, Ree Huffy, Mama to 3, Liv, Gentleman Jack, Wild Mama, Sunflower Jess, Marlisa, Texas Heat. Let's see. Marine Mom, Lyndon, Carol, Bell, Spacey Lacey, Dana, Miss Margie, Lauren, Lisa, Jenny, Grady RN, Kaylin, Catherine, Brown Eyes, Priscilla, Deanna, Sharon, Rhiannon, and Shelly. Thank you so much, everybody who helped to get the flash goal done. I very much appreciate it. So as I said, today I'm going to be talking about the newly released documents that the Moscow Police Department released last week because of Bryan+Kohberge's sentencing hearing. And I'm not going to go through each individual document because it just takes too much time, and quite frankly it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Most of it isn't really relative, it's just technical stuff and things that they have to document based on policy and procedure. So what we are going to do is go through the documents and the information that I personally think is relevant and things that we have not necessarily heard before. Now, I do ask, if you have questions, y'all, please hold them until the end, because a lot of times if you just listen, your questions will be answered. And when people are asking questions nonstop in the chat, y'all know I read my chat, and I like to answer questions because I like to interact with y'all. So if you can hold back on the comments, I will be happy to answer any questions that y'all have once we get through these. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to read is about them trying to find where the K-bar came from. And this particular document was written on 11/13 of 22, which is the day that the crime happened. Now, this particular officer said that on 11/14 he received a phone call to let him know that a sheath had been found inside the apartment. He doesn't give specifics about where it was found. He only says what it looked like, and he said the sheath was tan in color and had a Marine Corps eagle, globe, and anchor symbol on the sheath. The words USMC were located under the EGA and K-bar was above the EGA. I was tasked to follow up with businesses in town to see if that particular knife was sold there. I followed up with Tri-State Outfitters, Big 5 Sporting Goods, Moscow Building Supply, Spence Hardware, and Walmart. Each of the above stores does not sell a K-bar brand knife. Now, here's an interesting tidbit. While at Walmart, I was speaking with a staff member who was showing me the knives on display. She told me about 2 to 3 weeks prior, a white college-age male asked for a black ski mask that would cover his face. She was unable to provide much detail other than he was taller than she was and maybe had tan skin complexion. She said she advised the male they did not have any black ski mask, only camo. She said the man then walked away. All right, the next one that I'm going to read. Now, this one may be triggering to some, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is some graphic content, or at least some people may think so. What I am going to be reading to you right now is the coroner's report as far as what their major wounds were and what the fatal wounds were. Welcome in, everybody. If you're just coming in, please make sure to hit the heart at the top. If you're a team member, double tap, y'all, share it out. If you're not already following the channel, please do so. I appreciate it very much. Hey, Kiki. So this says, and I mean, just deep breath, and if this is not something that you want to hear, mute or scroll out and come back in a few minutes, because I know that particulars like this, especially when we're talking about people who've lost their lives, can be triggering to some, and that is not my intent nor purpose. But autopsies are very important in any true crime case, because it is literally the roadmap that we have to what happened to them and how. I know that a lot of people don't like discussing autopsies and don't agree with autopsy pictures and coroner's reports, but I cover true crime cases and I cover them factually. I deep dive on these cases and I talk about every aspect of true crime. If you're looking for frills and ridiculousness, this is not the place. If you're looking for actual evidence and facts, it is. And if you are genuinely interested in true crime and not just the drama that comes with it, that's what I like to do. Now, this says, at the conclusion of the 4 autopsies, Dr. Blank met with Kathy, Gary, and myself and told us the following. Ethan Chapin's fatal injury was from a stab wound underneath his left clavicle. Hey, Doss. Left clavicle, which is right here. The bone that's right there. And underneath that bone, there is a vein that provides blood flow to your arms, neck, head, and brain. That wound severed his subclavian artery, which caused him to bleed out. His jugular was also severed. Now, in this particular document, it doesn't mention anything about the wounds that have been alleged to be on his legs, but we'll get to that later. Ethan only had sharp force injuries. There were no blunt force injuries to Ethan. and he also did not have any defensive wounds, which leads us to believe that he was either asleep or inebriated. You are correct, Jessica. When a major vein is severed, it typically takes anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute to bleed out, to the point of unconsciousness. But during that 30 seconds to a minute, you are aware of every single thing that is happening. And I cannot even imagine the terror that he had to have felt. I also can't imagine him knowing that Xana was being unalived while he laid there and could do nothing. While others in the house listened to them scream and did nothing. But let me just not get on that again, or my blood pressure is going to go up. Xana Kernodle's fatal injuries were from one laceration in her right lung. And let me say this, Heather, Tim Burton's version. I don't bash anybody, and I don't care if you follow or unfollow. If you think that those roommates did the right thing, miss me. Because they let their friends lay there for 8+ hours and bleed out. And I am so sick of people coming in and defending and saying, well, they wouldn't have lived anyhow. You don't know that. There's not a doctor on this planet that knows that. No one knows but the good Lord whether or not one of these young adults could have been saved if 911 had been called. And instead of 911 calling, Dylan locked herself in her bedroom and waited for everything to stop. Even though now we know she heard them screaming, heard Kaylee run down the stairs screaming, heard the commotion, heard the fighting, and did nothing. I don't care if she was drunk. I don't care if she was high. Hearing something like that wakes you up with a quickness and sobers you. I'm so tired of the defense of this. What if this was your child? Think about that for a minute. If one of these that had been unalive was your child, would you be so forgiving? Because I damn sure wouldn't. And I'll tell you right now that if this had been one of my children, I would have wanted charges filed for negligence. Because they let their friends die, whether they were mortally wounded or not. And everyone is entitled to their opinion. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you. And as long as you're respectful, you're perfectly welcome here. But don't come into my chat and make statements that you have no idea. And you want to know what I thought about Dylan's victim impact statement? I thought that it was me. All about her and how she had been affected. How her life had changed. How her had done, how this, how that, how this, how that. It was me the entire time. And if y'all think that crying and caterwauling was real, I've got some oceanfront property I'd like to sell. Unfreaking believable. The amount of people who get on here and defend their actions is astonishing to me. And I am so sick of people saying, well, you don't know what a trauma response is. Do you know that she had a trauma response? Do you know that she was inebriated? Do you know that she was drunk? Or have you just listened to what she says? Because if you listen to what she says, she don't know what the hell she was. Every single statement that she's made has been inconsistent. And that is what I have spoken on since the very beginning. No, I don't know how she felt. I certainly do not. But what I do know is that none of her statements are consistent. And how anybody can think that she's any type of credible witness when she is telling people that she was drunk or she was high and her statements don't make any sense. Something is wrong. She was so scared that she didn't call 911. Opens the door and sees a masked intruder after hearing her roommate screaming and in an altercation. An masked intruder after hearing her roommate screaming and in an altercation. An altercation. A few minutes later, walks out her door through the living room, says that she sees Xana face down on the floor, but continues down the stairs to Bethany's room and goes to sleep. No, she didn't. She was on the internet. And the next day, Xana was face up, but nobody turned her. So how did she end up face up? It no longer matters? Are you kidding me? And this is another thing. I'm so tired of that too. I've seen so many people say, why are you going over these documents? None of this matters anymore. Are you kidding me? Justice always matters. 4 people lost their lives brutally. Just because he took a plea deal and said he was guilty, you don't think it matters? Connie, she admits that she heard the screams. In one of the first documents that I read, she's completely and totally telling exactly what happened. Once I get through with these, I'll reread that one for you. Anybody who thinks, what are we going to do? Bring awareness to it. Talk about it. Put out the actual information. Thank you, June. Instead of the candy-coated bullshit that so many others put out there. Why are you here? Why are you here? This is a true crime channel, and this is what I discuss. The world is so far past gone to the devil, it is astonishing. And you know what? Here's the thing about it. Everybody's life matters. Everybody's. Every person's life matters. These 4 young adults will never have the chance to have a career, get married, have a family. They were just starting their life. I have kids this age. I can't imagine. Cannot imagine. And I think that's why this case has always hit me so hard, and why I'm so passionate about the fact that the roommates didn't call 911. My husband left me. I wasn't aware that I had a husband. I have a boyfriend. Would you like to see him? He's pretty easy on the eyes. Hey, Breezy. Why, Mama? She's okay. You can unblock. You can not block her. You don't understand why I don't understand the kids not calling 911? Here's why. You are taught to call 911 during an emergency from the age that you are able to dial a phone. My 2-year-old granddaughter knows to call 911. If he's easy on the eyes, you wouldn't mind seeing him. Well, he's asleep right now, but... Yes, they were adults. If you're just coming in and you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top. And if you're not already following the channel and you're not an asshat, please make sure to follow. And here's the thing. You know, I am very blunt, to the point. I don't sugarcoat things, and I do not tolerate snowflakes lightly. So if you come into my chat and you're respectful, I don't care if you have a difference of opinion. I am perfectly happy with people with differences of opinions. What you're not going to do is come in here and disrespect me or anybody else in my chat, because I will match your energy. If you're a disrespectful bitch, I'm going to be one right back. Welcome to the team, everybody who's joining, and thank you so much, everybody who's following. All right, so for those of you who have just joined, I am going over the documents that were released by the police department last week, and I was just reading the causes of death and the wounds from the coroner's report. So I'm going to start over. I had only read Ethan's to this point, but I will start over and read his again. Can somebody go in and unmute that lady that Why Mama just muted? Thank you, I appreciate it. So it says, at the conclusion of the 4 autopsies, the doctor told us the following. Ethan Chapin's fatal injury was from a stab wound under his left clavicle, right there. Right there. That bone that runs right there. Which severed his subclavian vein and subclavian artery. Now, that artery provides blood flow to your arms, your neck, your head, and your brain. His jugular was also severed. He would have bled out within a minute. Typically 30 seconds to a minute. Ethan only had sharp force injuries. He did not have any blunt force trauma. He didn't have anything but puncture injuries. He had 0 defensive wounds, which means that he was caught completely off guard, and that the cuts that were made were intentional. Xana Kernodle's fatal injuries were from 1 laceration to her right lung. Fatal injuries were from 1 laceration to her right lung, Sorry. 2 lacerations to her heart. Xana had more than 50 stab wounds. Most of them were defensive. +50 wounds, and most of them were defensive. What that tells me is that girl was brave like no other. And she fought until the very end for her life. And to save the people that she loved. Well, this is what I think, and I have no proof of that. This is just simply my opinion based on the way that these documents have read. The fact that Ethan had 3 wounds, basically, tells me that he was probably either passed out or asleep, and somebody entered the bedroom and delivered those 3 blows. And after reading Dylan's statement that Kaylee screamed and ran down the stairs to Xana's bedroom where an altercation took place, I wonder now if Xana didn't, or if someone wasn't waiting on Xana when she got back to her room and they had already unalived Ethan. And Kaylee, unknowing, running away from whoever was upstairs and who had killed Maddie, ran directly into Xana being unalived. And whoever was upstairs followed her, and they unalived them both in Xana's room. And then Kaylee was taken back upstairs. That's my personal opinion as to something that could have possibly happened because of the way that Dylan's statements read now. The way that she reads everything. And I'll read her statement again here in just a minute after I get through with these. But her statement now is even more fishy to me than it was before. I absolutely believe that there were 2 people. I'm never going to be convinced that he did this himself. In 16 minutes, y'all. And I want every one of you to just think about what I'm about to say. Think about what I'm about to say. I have said since the very beginning that the fact that Ethan and Xana's wounds were described so differently was concerning to me and gave me red flags. Then the time frame that, don't come in here and listen. This is my channel and my chat. If you don't like what I'm saying, get the fuck out. Point blank, period. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. But what you are going to do is be respectful. Or you're going to be a blocked ass and gone. My channel, my chat. If you don't like it, go find somebody else who will powder your ass, because I am not it. I've already said I do not tolerate snowflakes. If you are looking for something to be offended by, you will find it here, I am sure. I'm not your mama. I'm not going to powder your ass. If you can't take adult discussions, go find some fantastical conspiracy theorist who's out there jumping around a freaking sorcerer's pot thinking that this is some kind of cult behavior, and miss me. Now, as I was saying, listen. They have said that this crime happened in 16 minutes. From the moment that the suspect vehicle is seen entering the area. 4:04. Entering the area. Hasn't parked, entering. To the moment that that same suspect vehicle is seen speeding away from the scene is 16 minutes. 16 minutes. To park a car, get inside, up the stairs, unalive 2 people, one of whom was stabbed more than 30 times and had blunt force injuries and sharp force injuries to her face, which made her completely unrecognizable. Downstairs. Now here's the kicker, because high adrenaline has nothing to do with this. We know for an absolute fact, that the video camera 50 feet from Xana's bedroom wall did not start recording noises until 4:17 a.m. That is a fact documented multiple times in these documents. Yet, he is supposed to be speeding away from the scene at 4:20. That gives him 3 minutes to unalive Ethan, stab Xana more than 50 times, leave a bloody butt print on the chair in the bedroom, walk out past Dylan, because she says he's walking, out the kitchen door, leave not one footprint and not one drop of blood outside that house. And the only footprints that are found outside the house lead not in the direction of where they say his vehicle was parked. They go in 2 completely different directions, not toward his vehicle. So where did he go? Did someone beam him up? Did he ride a hoverboard? I mean, where did he go? And for those of you dumbasses who don't have critical thinking skills coming in here saying, oh no, you know more than the FBI. No. What I know is how to read evidence. Maybe you should try. And if you don't see the inconsistencies in these statements and the discrepancies that are here in these documents, you're right, GM. I do say the same things every time. I sure do. It's called consistency. Perhaps you would know what that is if you read these documents, because there's not very much of it. I have an educated opinion, and I realize you don't know much about what that is either. For those of you who are coming in saying, why would he have taken a plea deal? Please do some research. The fact that so many of you don't know anything about the criminal justice system and how many people actually plead guilty when they're not. It is astonishing to me. You can go and look at the documents. They are on the Moscow Police Department's website. I believe that he's guilty. I've always said that I believe he's guilty. But I do not in any way, shape, or form think that he did this by himself, and I never have. The only thing I've ever stated prior to this is that with the evidence that we had, there was no way, if I was a juror, that I could find him guilty without reasonable doubt. And I couldn't have. Not if you use logical and critical thinking skills. And sadly, so many of you don't think logically. You think with emotions, and I don't do that. Anybody who's just coming in, please make sure to hit the heart at the top if you are a team member. And if you are not already following the channel and you're not an asshat, please make sure to do so. I cover true crime cases factually with evidence. And if I state my opinion, I make sure that you know it is my opinion. Now let me continue these wounds, and then I'm going to read you Dylan's statement. Madison Mogan's fatal injuries included a left lung laceration and a liver laceration. Madison only had sharp force injuries. Kaylee Gonsalves' fatal injuries included a left lung laceration, liver laceration, 2 subdural bleeds. And if you don't know what a subdural bleed is, it is from a blunt force injury to your head that causes a hematoma to form between your brain and your skull. And it is mortal. A stab behind her clavicle, which cut her subclavian vein and artery. 3 of them were killed the same way. Three of them had their subclavian veins and arteries severed. Absolutely show signs of an absolutely. Whoever did this knew anatomy. Absolutely knew anatomy. Quick death. Kaylee had signs of sharp force injuries, asphyxial injuries, which means that she was strangled, and blunt force injuries. Kaylee had 20 plus stab wounds, not including the blunt force injuries to her face and head, which caused her to be unrecognizable. Exactly, Kalita. Now, let me say this. Yes, your subclavian vein is where they put PICC lines in, ports for chemo. Right there. Right there. Anita, I'm reading you documentation, not word of mouth. I'm going by the documents. Welcome in anybody. If you're here for the first time, please make sure to follow the channel if you are interested in true crime. And if you are just coming in and you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. The heart me's are very, very important. It helps to boost the channel out. All right. Now, I want to read a different document to you. Hang on. Welcome to everybody who's joining the team. Let me get this one. Hold up. Hang on just 1 second, y'all. Hang on, y'all. I'll be right back. Texas Pickle, I'll talk about that in just a second, but hang on, y'all. I'll be right back. I got to do something real quick. Put my spirit animal up there for just a second. Okay. Now let me find this document. I had to find the cord to my laptop. So somebody had asked, what did I think? And did I think that, oh my gosh, let me get this off of my face. Did I think that Kaylee was the main victim? I cannot say with any degree of certainty. But what I can say is that from a forensic standpoint and from true crime knowledge, very unlikely that someone who is stalking one person is going to risk the unknowns, the unknown variables that would have been in this situation. And what I mean by that is, if somebody was stalking them, and if this was a case of like somebody had rebuffed his advances or whatever, and like a revenge type thing, then if he had been stalking them, he would have known when they went somewhere, when they came back, all of their goings and comings. Which also means that he would have known where the best place to ambush them would be. A place where there wouldn't be anybody who saw it. There wouldn't be any unknown variables. It wouldn't be a party house where you never know who's there or who's coming in. This was completely risky because it is known or was known as a party house, and you never know who's there and who might be coming in. So she also didn't live there. She had already moved out. The only thing that was still there was her bed. So why do you think that a stalker just waited for her to come back there for one night, knowing that there's 5 vehicles out front and somebody's boyfriend is inside who's twice your size, who could overpower you? I don't think so. I think that it's more likely, and this is strictly my opinion, I want to make that very clear, that in my personal opinion, I think that Maddie probably was asleep. And that's probably why she had so few wounds. And I think that Kaylee wasn't. I think that's why the dog was still in her bedroom. Because anybody that knew them said that they always slept with the dog. Even if they were sleeping together, the dog was with them in the same room. But the dog was in her room. I think she heard something and went to check on it. And when she did, she interrupted what he was doing, but it was already too late. And at that point, they fought. And she fought for her life. And whoever it was angered. Yes, they did pick up boxes of her things, but all of her stuff was boxed. It wasn't still there for her to use. The dog was left in Kaylee's bedroom. But Kaylee was in... Well, you also have an eyewitness who heard the dog barking for 45 minutes. From 4 a.m. to 4:45 a.m., the dog barked nonstop. Nonstop. From 4 a.m. to 4:45 a.m. 2 separate witnesses in the same home heard the dog barking for 45 minutes. Bryan+Kohberge did not have any wounds. Not one. Now, let me go back to this other document. I'm going to read you what Kaylee said. Listen to this very carefully. Hello, Petra. Listen to this very carefully. This is the statement that Dylan gave at the house. Sexy Pizza, it would make sense if she's sitting up if somebody puts her there. Just Millie, I'm going backwards. I'm actually on page 3 right now. This is what Dylan said to the officer at the house when the responding officers got there. Dylan told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announce there's somebody inside the house. My nose is itching. Dylan then said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor down the stairs to the 2nd floor into the northwest bedroom, which is Xana's. And I'm asking that y'all please listen to what I'm saying and stop putting comments in the chat. I am reading directly from police documents that were released. If you listen, the majority of your questions will probably be answered. I will read it again. At approximately 0400 hours, Dylan said she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she then heard Kaylee scream and announce there was somebody inside the residence. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor down the stairs to the 2nd floor into the northwest bedroom. And this is what I find interesting about this. For those of you saying, oh, that's a typo, she meant Xana, that she didn't mean that was, because in an additional report, she told another officer that Kaylee would be found in Xana's room. Not Xana, Kaylee. And they thought that that's who it was. They list in their report that it's Kaylee in the room with Ethan, because that's what Dylan told them. And then later he comes back and adds a clause that says, we later found out that the information given by Dylan Mortensen was incorrect, and this was actually Xana in the room with Ethan, and Kaylee was upstairs with Maddie. Hey, Ash. Timeless, or is she? How do you confuse two different things? Okay, let's say she's drunk, okay? Let's say she's not right, or that this was just a mistake. To two different people about two different things that pertain to the same person? Something's not right. I don't know. I want to beat my head into a wall that so many people do not see what I see when I'm reading these. Hold on. Listen to this. Listen to this. This is Officer Nunez, the first officer to arrive. The first officer to arrive. This is what he says. On 11/13/2022, at approximately 11:56 hours, I responded to an unconscious subject at 1122 King Road. Upon my arrival, I found a large gathering of people in the parking lot, immediately north of the home. 1122 King Road is a white 3-story single-family residence with multiple bedrooms. The reading false information. What? My docs are wrong. These were downloaded directly from... Sure. I don't watch documentaries. I focus on facts and evidence. Documentaries are skewed to somebody's point and a certain perspective, and I try to stay as unbiased as possible. Always, Ashley. And any of you who would like to go and read these documents for yourself, you can go to the Moscow Police Department website and download them. All right. Living Life, he does correct it. All right, I'm going to turn off comments if y'all don't ixnay the bickering back and forth. And if you state something that is not a fact, say that it's your opinion. Matter of fact, just don't state anything if you don't have factual evidence to back it up. Because I'm about over it. Hey, Jax. All right. I was directed to a bedroom on the 2nd floor by Hunter in the northwest corner to locate the unresponsive female. Listen. Upon entering the room, I observed a female laying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to Dylan Mortensen, this female was likely Kaylee Gonsalves. Dylan also lived at 1122 King Road. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed in the same room where I observed Kaylee, I observed a male lying supine on the bed. According to Dylan, the male was likely Ethan Chapin. Dylan said Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs, surrounding his body into the bed sheets. This is an official statement by Officer Nunez, who was the first responding officer. First responding officer. And this is his direct statement from Dylan and what she told him. Drops of blood were also on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, Hunter showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told him to leave the knife and go back down the stairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved to visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the 3rd floor, Officer Warner and I found 2 additional, apparently deceased females, both laying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the 3rd floor. According to Dylan, these 2 females were likely Xana Kernodle and Maddie Mogan. One female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and the immediate area, to include the parking lot immediately to the north of the residence. I walked outside and began interviewing Dylan. Dylan told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream. Dylan told me she believed it to be Kaylee. Dylan said she then heard Kaylee scream and announce there was somebody inside the residence. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to read. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor down the stairs to the 2nd floor into the northwest bedroom, which is Xana's bedroom. The officer's not mixing up the names, Buckeye. Oh my God. I feel like this is an episode of Dumb and Dumber. Hey, Uncle Danny. The officer didn't get it wrong. Do y'all have any reading comprehension? The officer didn't get it wrong. Dylan told him wrong. But are you listening to what she said? She literally just said that Kaylee ran downstairs to Xana's bedroom. So did she really get it wrong? Or did she think that Kaylee was in Xana's bedroom? Which one? Did she really get it wrong? Because she literally says in her statement that Kaylee ran downstairs after screaming twice to Xana's bedroom. How do you think this officer mixed up somebody's name? They didn't even know who was there or what their names were. How do you know it wasn't Kaylee? How do you know it was Xana? How do you know that Kaylee didn't run down the stairs to Xana's bedroom? Because they found Xana there, you think that means Xana was the one running. I don't know why I even do this anymore. It won't change anything. Who went where anyhow? Spirit wanders. My anger is confusing. Why am I so mad that Dylan didn't know who ran? I can't deal with this stupidity anymore. Y'all, please go find somebody who's an absolute moron to listen to. Please. Please go find somebody else who is a moron and doesn't read documents. And, you know, here's the thing. Stormy Lynn, you wish I would just read and ignore comments. I'm not here to do what you want me to do. My channel. And I read my comments because I like to interact with the chat. And I like to answer questions. If you don't like what I'm reading and you don't agree with it, or you're too ignorant to comprehend what I'm reading, go get the documents for yourself and read them. I don't owe any of you anything. Not one single thing. I've made $7 and I've been live for an hour and 24 minutes. So before one of you says, you're just doing this for clicks and views, now, all of you who are morally outraged and offended, your ass is chapped, whatever, leave. And then I'll get back to what I'm doing. And if you think that this is anger, if you know, you know. And I've said this a million times. I don't care what your opinion is. If you're respectful, you're perfectly welcome here. But if you come into my chat and you're a disrespectful bitch, I'm going to be a disrespectful bitch right back. And I've asked repeatedly for y'all to refrain from the comments until I get through. And then I'm happy to answer them. Because a lot of these questions would be answered if you would just holster your fingers, pop a squat, open your ears, and listen. Now I'm going to continue. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Kim. Here we go. Well, L-Dub, that's exactly what I was trying to or hope that people with open minds who aren't just focused on one way of thinking would listen to what I'm saying. These statements, everybody's saying, oh, he got it wrong. He got the names wrong. Or Dylan was confused. Was she confused? Or is she telling what she was there to witness happening? Because think about this for just a minute. So Kaylee had the worst wounds to her face. She's the only one who had blunt force trauma to her face, to the point that her face was unrecognizable. Yet she's sitting up in the bed on or next to the wall, propped up basically. But Maddie is laying on the bed, closest to the outside. Now, if Maddie was killed first, because she only had 3 wounds, and they were sharp force injuries, and the wounds that she had are the wounds that killed her. She bled out internally. So if Maddie's killed first, she's on the outside. How did Kaylee end up sitting up next to the wall, propped up? Yes, Alexis. Could somebody have taken her back upstairs from Xana's bedroom and sat her on the bed? According to Dylan's statements, it's a possibility. No, there wouldn't have been a blood trail. Okay, Josh, let's talk about that for a minute. So you say that if they had taken her back upstairs, there would have been a blood trail, right? I look scary? Thank you. Okay. Then where's the blood trail from him walking out of the house? Shouldn't that have left a blood trail too? Because there's cast off all over the place listed in these documents. He should have been covered in blood. And he walked out the back door, according to Dylan. Yet there's not one drop of blood or footprints that lead toward his vehicle where they say it was parked. Where's that? When did he have time to do that, Josh? When did he have time to change clothes? He had 3 minutes to unalive Xana and Ethan, get to his vehicle, and then be speeding away from 417 to 420. The noises in Xana's room started at 4:17 a.m. His vehicle was caught on camera speeding away from the area at 4:20. When did he have time to sit down? Or did he sit down? Do you think that he was able to stab Xana 50 times? Sit down in a chair? Walk? Because she doesn't say he's running. She doesn't say he's in a hurry. She says he's walking beside her out the door. It literally makes sense. You're simply an old, bored lady. I'm old. I'm not bored. But what makes sense? You think that it's possible for somebody to stab somebody 50 plus times, unalive another man, and then walk out of a house and not leave a footprint or any blood? Where did he go? How did he get to his car? Did Scotty beam him up? Was he riding a hoverboard? I'm genuinely asking how you think he got to his vehicle. How you think it is physically possible. Well, there were footprints. You were completely right, Brav. There were footprints. And they went in different directions than where his vehicle was parked. There was not one set of footprints that went in the direction of where they claim his vehicle was parked. One moment, and I'll show you. All right, this is the picture of the back of the house. Bob, just because somebody has a PhD in criminology does not mean that they have the experience nor wherewithal to commit a crime of this nature without leaving one speck or spot of his DNA anywhere in that home other than the button flap of a knife sheath that just haphazardly was left beside one of the bodies upstairs. Miss me. In 16 minutes. I am so tired of this question. Why would somebody admit to something they didn't do? Please do some research into the justice system. I'm literally showing you. All right, I'm turning off the damn comments because some of y'all are ignorant as fuck. If you're offended, get the fuck out of my chat. I'm so sick of damn stupid-ass people. Some of y'all, I swear to God, ain't got the sense that God gave a billy goat. There's an old lady over on YouTube who climbs mountains like a mountain goat. Y'all need to go over and team up with her. Y'all about got as much freaking common sense. Now, this is the picture of the back of the house. In these documents, it says there's a set of footprints that leads in one direction and goes to the front of the house. That is the yellow line. There's another set of footprints that leads to the other side of the house and goes between two houses. That's the red line. Bryan+Kohberge's alleged vehicle is, I don't know who wrote that damn thing. Was supposed to be back there where it said, police said Bryan was back there. His vehicle was supposed to be parked on this street behind these trees, yet the footprints go to the left through the trees and to the right and beside the house. There is not one set of footprints that goes in the direction of his vehicle. So for the geniuses who said, there was footprints, it said it in these documents, please show me where it says that they go anywhere into the direction of where his vehicle allegedly was parked. I'm going to leave this picture up here for just a minute. If you're just coming in, please make sure to hit the heart at the top if you're a team member and send your heart me for the day. If you haven't already followed the channel and you're interested in the content that I provide, it is very appreciated if you would follow. I put a lot of time and effort into these cases, despite what some think. All right, comments back on. Hey, Flaming Lady. Bees don't ask. Thank you, GL. Now, do you understand what I'm saying about the footprints and how there are no footprints that lead in the direction of where they claim his vehicle was parked? Yes, they did see 2 different sets of footprints, but neither of them were in the direction of where his alleged vehicle was parked. Hey, Nancy. Thank you. Congrats on leveling up, Queen Cat Mama. And thank you, everybody who just sent gifts. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Cheever. All right, now let me. And let me also state this. The knife sheath was not found until after 4 p.m. that evening. The first responding officers arrived at 12 p.m., but the knife sheath was not found until after 4 p.m. by Detective Brett Payne. Brett Payne states that he saw the knife sheath from the doorway. Now, multiple officers had been in that room, checked their pulse, but none of them noticed the knife sheath that Brett Payne says is visible from the doorway until after 4 p.m. Police officers are trained to notice every detail, yet not one of them noticed a knife sheath, and these crimes were committed with a sharp force weapon. That would have been a significant piece of evidence, don't you think? How did no one notice it until after 4 p.m.? Well, let me talk about DNA for a minute, Belinda. So, the only... NASCAR Josh, amen. The only DNA of Bryan+Kohberger's that was found was touch DNA on the button flap of a knife sheath. Touch DNA. Now, let me explain touch DNA. I could take your DNA from anything that you touch and plant it at a crime scene and implicate you in any crime that I wanted to. Anybody else could do the same thing. We leave touch DNA everywhere we go, all day, every day. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that I go to a store and I find a shirt that I like. And I try that shirt on. It has buttons. I touch the buttons. And you come into that same store a little later and you decide you want to buy that shirt. And you take it home with you. And then that night your home is broken into and you're robbed. When they're doing a canvass of the crime scene and collecting evidence, they find my DNA on your shirt. Does that mean that I was inside your home? Mm-mm. Touch DNA does not physically put you at a scene. Becky, that's not true. The knife sheath was not under one of their bodies. And here's the thing, and this is what I'm going to say about that. If that knife sheath was under their body, there would have been a pattern in the lividity. There would have been a void in the lividity pattern. And if they can't show a lividity void, then it was not under their body. And I have been waiting for anything that talks about lividity, and I have not seen it yet. And for those of you who don't know what lividity is, it's also known as livor mortis, Livor mortis. It is when you pass away, all of the blood in your body pools to the lowest point of gravity. But if there's something that pushes up on your skin and makes that part higher, it's not rigor mortis. It's called livor mortis. Livor. Please do not correct me when you don't know what you're talking about, because I can assure you I do. Another genius. And most people don't know the difference between livor mortis and rigor mortis. But don't come in here and try to say that I'm wrong when you don't have a clue yourself. It's Livor mortis. Two separate words. You're an MD? Well, God, I hope you shouldn't be. If you're an MD and you don't know the difference between livor mortis and rigor mortis, Oh, you learned about it from me during Micah Miller? Oh, that's awesome. Awesome, Jen. I did, Willie. I don't know why somebody just suggested that I host with the Good Wives Network. Can I explain the difference between rigor mortis and livor mortis? Yeah, absolutely. Rigor mortis is when your body stiffens. Livor mortis is when the blood pools to the lowest point of gravity and leaves a pattern. And livor mortis is very important in knowing the position that a body was in when they died. You can also tell if they've been moved, because let's just say that Xana passed away and was deceased face down, yet she's found face up. Her lividity pattern would be on the front of her body if she died face down. So you would be able to tell that she had been moved by the lividity pattern. You can also see voids in the lividity. For instance, if the knife sheath was underneath Maddie's body, there would be a void in the shape of the knife sheath in the lividity pattern. So you would be able to tell without a shadow of a doubt if that knife sheath was actually under her body when she died, or was it actually put beside her body later. I hope that helped. Two completely different bodily reactions to death. It depends, Beetle Pepper. Livor mortis and rigor mortis, the time frame is different. It depends on the temperature. It depends on the cause of death. It depends on, there's a lot of things that it depends on. All right, let me finish reading this document. Maybe everyone has calmed down enough now that I can read it. Also, if you're just coming in and you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top of the channel and send your heart me for the day. If you are here for the first time, please make sure to follow the channel. I would very much appreciate it. Yes, the cooler the weather, the cooler the temperature, definitely affects all of these things. I'm going to reread. Well, very glad to have you, Rivka, from Australia. I'm going to keep going until probably about 7. I have a huge battle tonight on this channel against Guy with the Hair, Mud Mafia. Myself and Leah are taking on those two in a guys versus girls battle tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Narissa, how many times are you going to ask what I do for work? I'm a content creator on social media. I have multiple channels on multiple platforms. This is what I do full-time for a living. I'm not quite certain why that is your business, or why you're such a nosy bitch asking. What do you do for a living? Here, send me a gift, Narissa. I'm going to be battling on this channel. This channel. If you enjoy my content and you would like to send me a gift, it's pinned at the bottom. Hey, Allie. Now, I'm going to reread Dylan's statement. Dylan told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announce there was somebody inside the residence. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor, down the stairs to the 2nd floor, into the northwest bedroom, which is Kaylee's bedroom. Which is Xana's bedroom, where Xana and Ethan were found. Dylan said she locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear a commotion. So, she hears Kaylee scream one time. Then she hears Kaylee scream again that somebody's in the house. Then she hears Kaylee run down the stairs to Xana's bedroom. And she walks over and locks her door, but never thinks to call 911. So she has the wherewithal to understand that something's not right, something's happening, and locks her door. But doesn't call 911. Okay. Listen to this. Dylan said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle. What? Eventually, she stops hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna help you." Dylan said she didn't recognize the man's voice. She still didn't call 911. Chantel, how does anybody not have a problem with this? How? How can you defend this? How can you defend this by saying, oh, she was young, oh, she was scared, oh, she was drunk, oh, she was high? So? She should have guilt. Sorry, y'all. I can't get enough to drink. Just wait, Chastity. I'm getting to Bethany. Now listen to this. A few minutes after she hears the unknown voice, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build, with a black ski mask, leave the second floor patio area. This patio door was likely left open as it was found open upon my arrival. Now listen to this. You mean to tell me she would have been able to see that kitchen door when she left her bedroom to go down to Bethany's? Because she walks out not long after this and goes downstairs to Bethany's bedroom, where she says she sees Xana laying face down in the floor. Her feet were to the wall. Her head was to the door. Face down. Yet when she was found the next day, she was face up. I'm interested to see what her lividity patterns are as well. But then not only that, she would have been able to see the kitchen sliding glass door when she went out of her room. And she just left it open? She just left the upstairs door standing wide open, knowing that somebody went out it? She didn't go in there and shut the door. Instead, she went downstairs to the first floor and got in the other room with her roommate and went to sleep, knowing that somebody could come back through that door and come down there and finish them off? What? Anybody got an explanation for that one? Well, Ruby Ray, most people who genuinely were scared wouldn't have left their room either. They would have called 911. What did they survive, Jen? What exactly did they survive? Because they were never even approached. They didn't survive anything. They sat there and let it happen and didn't call 911. She literally just says that she listened to everything that happened. She heard screaming, she heard an altercation and a commotion, and a man, after a struggle, and doesn't call 911 one time, but she locks her door. Then unlocks the door, goes outside the room, and walks down the stairs, not knowing where the man is that she just saw. Now listen to this. I also interviewed an additional roommate, Bethany, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. So she heard it too. Which we already knew that she heard it, because Bethany called Dylan at 4:19 a.m. 2 minutes after the recording started, 50 feet from Xana's bedroom. At 4:19 a.m., which should have been about the time that Dylan looked out her room and saw the perpetrator walking by her, Bethany called her, according to the court records and the call logs. I'm pathetic, but here you are trolling my chat instead of minding your business and going somewhere else. Oh, but she did, B. But she did. She literally says she was home during the commotion. Now listen to this. Bethany said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan and an unidentified person named blank. Bethany said at approximately 0200 hours, Maddie and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club bar. Bethany believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wandering Kitchen truck that was commonly located in the 300 block of South Main Street. Witchy, I'm going to be battling on this channel at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I have a huge battle tonight with, it's a guys versus girls battle between myself and Leah and Guy with the Hair and Mud Mafia. A huge battle. I would appreciate any of you who come and support greatly. Now listen to this next part. We already know from these documents that we've read that there are 2 witnesses who heard the dog barking from 4 a.m. to 4:45 a.m. for 45 minutes. The dog was barking for 20 minutes after Bethany told Dylan to come downstairs, and 20 minutes after Dylan went downstairs to Bethany's bedroom. Bethany said that she and Maddie let Maddie's dog out, Murphy, between 0200 and 0230. Bethany said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. Bethany said she returned inside while Maddie was still outside with Murphy. She went to bed around 2:30. Bethany said Maddie came into her bedroom sometime after 2:30 to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Madison no, and Maddie left. Listen to this. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. Bethany said she initially thought the sound was a prank. A firecracker and a flash? But why a flash, Louisa? If it was a car backfire that woke her up, why a flash? And how would she have seen it from the bottom floor? Everything happened on the second and third floor. What would have been that loud and had such a bright flash that it woke her up? No, sorted out. It doesn't say it under her door. This one doesn't say it, but it does in another one. So in another document, not this one, but another one that we'll get to, it says she saw the flash under her bedroom door. Now you have to remember, her bedroom is directly underneath the living room. It came from inside, yes. Yes, it came inside. Y'all, here is my gift goal. If anybody wants to help out, if you enjoy the content, the discussions, the information, if you want to send and help out with the gift goal, I would very much appreciate it. But Gillian, where would the lamp have fallen? She's on the bottom floor. If y'all are just coming in, if you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top of the channel and send your heart me for the day. And if you haven't already followed the channel, if you would do so, I would very much appreciate it. Ava, I don't know. I haven't really had time to think about it. But I want to talk about the DNA for just a minute. Why do y'all think they focused on touch DNA? When they, okay, so they had 2 unknown male blood samples since the day that this crime happened. 2 unknown. One was on the handrail and also a smear on the wall beside the handrail. And there was a separate male DNA outside in the front yard on a pair of bloody gloves. We know for a fact from court documents that Othram Laboratories, who is the laboratory that they used for their DNA, contacted the police department and said, hey, we have a group of 4 biological brothers who we think is a connection to your case and who is linked to this DNA sample. Here's their information. Contact them. See if they will voluntarily submit DNA. No, Alyssa, they were not. So they called this man and asked him to submit voluntarily a DNA sample. He refused and told them not to contact him again. On December 10th, almost a month after the crime happened, the FBI contacts Moscow PD and says, hey, turn over everything you have on these 4 brothers to us. We'll take it over. The 10th of December. On the 19th of December, the FBI calls Moscow and tells them, hey, we got a name for you, Bryan+Kohberge. And according to Brett Payne, in court documents, under direct question by Ann Taylor, December 19th is the first time Bryan+Kohberge's name was ever heard or on their radar. And they chose to follow touch DNA, which does not place you at the scene of a crime, instead of the blood that does place you at the scene of a crime that was found in 2 different locations in that house. And both of those blood samples were viable. And what I mean by that is they fit the time frame of the crime. They were able to be collected and they were able to be examined. We know that because they came back as unknown male. So they knew that it was male DNA. but they didn't get a hit in CODIS or any of the genealogical databases, the two that law enforcement are able to search. Why didn't they focus on those 2 blood samples? Why hadn't they focused on them for the month plus before they got Bryan+Kohberge's name? And then they filed probable cause affidavit to arrest him in 10 days after they got his name. 10 days. All right, hold on. That's not what I wanted. Hang on, y'all. I'm trying to find something. Hang on. All right, listen to this. Now, for those of you who don't like graphic things, I'm about to read you another pretty descriptive statements from some of the officers who were responding to the crime scene. So, trigger warning. Trigger warning, trigger warning. Thank you, Karina. Yes, I am doing a big battle tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So in a little under 2 hours, I have a huge battle on this channel against Guy with the Hair and Mud Mafia. It is a guys versus girls battle. We did this last month. It was myself and Kate, who was on American Idol, against Mud Mafia and Guy with the Hair, and the score was like almost 3 million total. Guy had like 2 million, which he has millions of followers. So Guy was first, I came in second, and then Kate, and then Mud Mafia. So it's just a one and done. A one and done. Any support that y'all want to give is very much appreciated. I was actually not supposed to do this battle this month. He had somebody else, but both of the women backed out at the last minute, so he asked Leah and I if we would participate. And I just found out about this last night. All right, so here we go. Now, this is a statement from Brett Payne. And this is on 11/13/2022 at 1600 hours. Now, this is very interesting. He says that the forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing. This is the entire affidavit that he filed. Part of this is in the probable cause affidavit. This is the entire thing. So listen to this. I'm going to skip the part that is in the probable cause affidavit and only read the parts that have not been made public until now. This says, this will probably be the last one that I read because it's 7 o'clock and I've got to find somebody to spar with to get gloves. It says, Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. And again, let me reiterate, this is a statement by Brett Payne, the lead investigator on this case. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. The stairs ended in a small living room. There was a sectional style couch along the east and south wall. There was also a small TV in a void on the northeast corner of the room. I also saw a black backpack on the floor just east of the top of the stairs. Officer Smith then directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned was Xana Kernodle's room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was laying on her back with her feet facing the east and her head was facing west. Kernodle had thong-type underwear on and a gray sweatshirt. Now, in previous documents, Dylan and Bethany said that Xana was wearing all black. Just a little thing that I noticed. There was a large amount of blood on the floor around Kernodle as well. I could see numerous wounds on her arms, hands, and face, which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Just next to Kernodle on the west wall was a small white nightstand, which appeared to have been moved as it was pushed against the wall at an odd angle. There was blood on this nightstand in various locations. The bed in Kernodle's room was situated on the south wall of the bedroom, with the head of the bed appearing to be towards the west wall. I could see a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, laying on his back in the bed with some type of blanket pulled over his midsection. Chapin's body was at an angle on the bed, so that his head was up against the south wall and his feet were hanging off the bed on the north side. I could not clearly see the wounds to Chapin's head and neck area. But could see a very large amount of blood on the bed, as well as what appeared to be blood spatter on the wall next to Chapin's head and neck. I also noticed 2 large cuts to the back of Chapin's legs. The wounds appeared to be deep into the tissue, but were difficult to see due to Ethan's body position. Welcome in to anybody that's just joining us. If you are a team member, please make sure to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. I would very much appreciate it. And if you're new here, please make sure to follow the channel. Officer Smith then took me through the house and pointed out Dylan Mortensen's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast side of the second floor. Mortensen's bedroom door opened to the kitchen area as well as the staircase which led to the third floor of the house. Upon my brief visual inspection, Mortensen's room was disheveled but did not appear to have any blood or evidence of a struggle within. I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonsalves. This room appeared neat and picked up. The only thing of note was the sheets on the bed were pulled back in a manner which suggested someone had been laying in the bed and then gotten out of it. What did I say? What have I been saying since the beginning? Which would make perfect sense if Kaylee went to sleep in her room with the dog and heard something, got up, went to see what was going on in Maddie's room, and interrupted whatever was happening. It would explain why Murphy was left in the room with the door shut and why he wasn't in the bedroom with her and Maddie. It could also explain the reason for the severity of the wounds if she interrupted what he was doing to Maddie. Maddie had very minimal wounds compared to the others. Thank you, Lolly May. I appreciate that. Well, and here's the thing. I don't mind going against the masses, and I don't mind going against people who don't read documents and don't know anything about forensics or criminal science. You know, the evidence speaks for itself, and so does the facts of the case. And there is plenty of things to piece together in these things, rather than having to pull some wild conspiracy theories out of your butt crack. But this just validated something that I've been saying since this happened. What, Brittany? Kaylee is who I said got out of the bed. All right, listen in. Listen up. Officer Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Maddie's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. The bed was situated along the north wall, and both females, later identified as Mogan and Gonsalves, were laying on their backs. Now, that's not what this said. It did not. Now, this is different. Laying on their backs with their heads toward the east and their feet towards the west, which was also the direction of the only door into the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogan had numerous visible stab wounds and were covered in a significant amount of blood. I also later noticed, listen to this, I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. I remained in the room for a moment and then proceeded back outside. I remained on scene and conducted several more walkthroughs of the scene with the ISP forensic team, the county coroner, and the county prosecutor. We collected an initial 56 pieces of evidence. I've got about 5 minutes. I'm going to do one more. I don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that one. Bear with me, y'all. So, for those of you who weren't here when I read this the other day about Jack Showalter, Jack Showalter is the hoodie guy at the Grubhub that has been talked about repeatedly. His father's in politics, and he was cleared by the Moscow Police Department a day or so after the crime happened. And then he went to his father's hunting cabin. Now, we just found out that blood was found both on the outside of his door as well as 4, it was originally stated as 94, but there were 4 blood swabs taken in his home. And this is where they were located, but there's some additional information that you need to listen to. So listen to this. We discovered blood smears and spots in the locations that the worker described. In addition, there were more blood spatter spots on the wall on the entryway into the living room. Samples of each were collected, and Talbot took photos of the residence. Upon completion, I left the paperwork on the couch in the living room. So they took 4 swabs of blood in Jack Showalter's apartment. But listen to this. This is, in my opinion, this is also just as important as the blood. This is watching camera footage. It says, the cameras show the parking lot of blank Linda Lane, which is situated directly south of blank Queen Road, which is where Jack Showalter lives. The frame captures a portion of the Queen Road parking lot in front of, but does not capture the apartments themselves. The area is also much darker than Linda Lane. The video is infrared and is thusly displayed in black and white. Now this is what is important. At approximately 03:50 hours on 11/13/22, 10 minutes before the crime is supposed to happen, per the timestamp on the video, a figure clad in dark clothing can be seen walking from the building, which houses the apartments that Jack Showalter lives in. The figure walks to the west out of the parking lot and leaves the frame of the video. As the figure enters the sidewalk area between the 2 other apartment buildings. The terminus of this sidewalk is immediately east of the house at 1122 King Road. The figure is not captured anywhere else on camera after that. Yep. That explains the set of footprints coming from the houses on the other side. This entire case is wild. This entire case is wild. It's been wild the entire time. The fact that it is the hooded guy from the Grubhub. Yes. He is the hooded guy from the Grubhub. He was also thrown out of his fraternity for multiple infractions related to violence. One of which is where he threw dead animals on the lawn of one of the other fraternities. Now, his family is heavily invested in politics there. Yes, Pink Kelly, he is. They found blood in his home, yes. And one of these officers actually compared the blood stains and blood spots that they found in his home to the blood stain spot at the place where the murders happened on the banister and handrail. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate y'all. If you are a team member, don't forget to hit the heart at the top and send your heart me for the day. If you have not already followed the channel, please make sure to do so. I will be live again tomorrow with more information and continuing to go through these documents. Probably around 11 Central or so. And then I have a huge battle tonight against Guy with the Hair. And that is at 8:30 Central Time in about an hour and a half. If y'all can be here for that to help support, it is very, very much appreciated. It is 7:06 p.m. right now. So in approximately an hour and 24 minutes is my battle. So thank you, everybody. I will see y'all soon. I am going to spar for gloves. Yes, I'll probably start about 7:30. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Hopefully I'll see y'all at the battle. Have a good one.